What's going on, guys? Christian Hanna Horror here, and welcome to a new series we're starting called Christian's Cult Classics. On my last Blu-ray DVD update I did, you guys were kind of asking me, what about that movie? Did you see that movie? Did you like it? And I was like, you know what? Let's get another segment going, but let's make it a really cool one. We're going to be talking about cult classic horror movies, and this series is going to be about horror movies that are more so underground or not mainstream like Halloween or Friday the 13th. So without further ado, let's get started on episode 1. Today we're talking about The Slayer. The Slayer is a movie I just picked up from Arrow Video, and I have been intrigued by the cover art of this for so long. I mean, look how beautiful that is. I will be making these reviews spoiler-free. These reviews will be of the movie itself and also the release that I own it on. So The Slayer seems to be this slasher movie that had kind of been eluded for a long time and just was hidden. It wasn't getting released much. I didn't see many DVD releases of this, and I could really not even find a VHS copy of it online. I know they probably existed. They had to have, but it seems like it's just elusive. This movie was kind of just underground for the longest time. So The Slayer is about this group of people who are going on this vacation on this island. It's a very small-knit crew in this movie, and when you think about a slasher movie, it's like you would expect for there to be a lot of characters, that way there could be a high body count, but this movie doesn't really do that. It's two couples that are going on this vacation, and they get on this small little private plane and head over to this really cool island. The first thing I'll say about this movie is beautiful cinematography. You get great shots of the ocean as they're coming in, great shots of the island. It's beautiful, and on this 4K transfer, it looks absolutely stunning. This will probably be the best you'll ever see this film look. So they're going there to experience just a nice, easy vacation. They're supposed to be having a good time, but that doesn't last too long. This movie actually has a lot of elements of dreams and reality, and it kind of has a Nightmare on Elm Street type vibe. It would make you want to think, okay, so they're kind of copying the Nightmare on Elm Street thing, but then you look at the date when this was made. This was 1981, which was well before Nightmare on Elm Street. The main character, she's going through ups and downs, and you see these horrific scenes where you think something bloody and gratuitous is going on, then sometimes it turns out to be a dream. That could be annoying to some people, but for me personally, it doesn't bother me. If the story's good, I can take a fake slashing every now and again. The gore in this movie, I will say, was really good. The gore in The Slayer was absolutely fantastic in my opinion. They kind of approached it with a realistic sense. It wasn't over-the-top blood. It wasn't ridiculous amounts of blood. There's a scene where a girl is dying and she's got blood coming out of her mouth. She just got stabbed by a pitchfork, which was a great scene in the movie. But the amount of blood that they show on her and the way she dies, the performance there was fantastic. Like, the blood, it was really nice and dark red, kind of had that veinous look to it. And I've seen a lot of slasher movies over the years, but this movie really portrayed it in the sense to where, like, she really looked like she had just gotten stabbed and was dying and bleeding out of her mouth. And it was kind of creepy. Like, it was probably one of the most realistic death scenes in a slasher movie I think I'd ever seen. So credit to The Slayer for that. Another thing I really liked about this movie was the music. It didn't have your typical slasher movie, fast, crazy music. It had a really good score. The music had a really nice blanket style to it. It really just elevated the scenes while not being jarring to the scene itself. As you can see on the cover of this movie, there is a creepy guy above the main character on the back. When you see this guy on screen, which obviously I'm assuming you guys will realize you do since he's on here, he looks absolutely stunning. He's creepy. The makeup effects on this character looks fantastic. It almost looks like something out of Creepshow. So if that's something you're into, then the Slayer's appearance will definitely satisfy your needs. It's somewhat of a slow burn. You know, this movie doesn't move slow, but the story progresses slow, and it doesn't seem like things happen as quick as you may want them to. Now, that's not a problem for me per se, but I was expecting it to be a little bit more faster paced. Now that I know that's not the case, when I go back to rewatch it, I think I'll be able to appreciate it a little bit more. I've only seen this movie one time, so this is my initial reaction to the film. All in all, when it comes to the movie itself, The Slayer was a great slasher movie, bar none. It had some great kills. While they're fewer and far between, they count, and the acting is good across the board. You know, sometimes with these slasher movies, you may get just bad actors, but I gotta give it up. The cast in this movie was absolutely fantastic, quite honestly. Everybody did a really good job. Now, when it comes to this Arrow Video Blu-ray itself, I would recommend it 100%. First off, it's a 4K transfer. It's not going to look any better than this. I really don't think you can get much better than this. There is some graininess in scenes, but as long as you're not sitting right up next to the TV, it's not as bad. Now, you got to understand that these things are going to happen when restoring these movies. So, you know, it's one thing to complain about it, but it's another thing to be really appreciative about this movie getting restored the way it did. Now, after you're watching this movie, you're going to have a lot of questions about how this happened happened, how we got towards this and stuff. And there's a documentary in here that talks about the movie at great lengths, and that's my favorite thing. If you give me a special edition of a movie, please give me a documentary on the making of. And this one answered a lot of my questions, and I learned a lot of really interesting things about this movie. When it comes into the whole world of slasher movies, I gotta give it to The Slayer. It's pretty high up there, and it's unique. It's got a different approach to the subgenre of slasher movies, and it was quite honestly a fresh of breath air. There's my review on The Slayer and also the Arrow Video Blu-ray. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description for you guys to go pick up a copy of this through my Amazon affiliate link if you do choose so. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is Christian's Cult Classics, where we talk about underground and B-horror movies. Feel free to drop a comment below on a movie you would like me to review that's a cult classic. Until next time, this is Christian Hanna Horror saying, please be sure to subscribe, ding the bell so you never miss an upload, and we'll see you guys next time.